Ladies and gentlemen, the brand building starts today. This is the first episode of the Rad Resport Podcast, aka the RRS pod, for when I don't want to spell out all the words. I'm sitting here in a snowy studio in Syracuse, New York, where it's Friday afternoon. No one else is around, so hopefully I can be as loud as I want in this shared space, because it's a Friday in Syracuse. You know, everyone's just getting blitzed and doing snow angels at this point. Because what else are you gonna do? NBA trade deadline happened. I don't know if you heard, but the Cleveland Cavaliers now have an entirely different basketball team. They traded 6 players in one day, rarely done. 3 separate moves. So I'll just go one by one on the moves. In one move, they gave up Derrick Rose, or should I say, the walking corpse of Derrick Rose, Jay Crowder, and the way too many $1 million man, Iman Shumpert, in exchange for George Hill and Rodney Hood. That's not direct, but it was like a 3-team deal. That's what they gave up. That's what they got back. Whatever. George Hill and Rodney Hood. All right. I mean, listen. It's hard to say you're a fan of any of these moves because it's such an odd situation for the Cavs. They probably are catching very quickly onto the idea they're not going to have LeBron next year. He's leaving, and they're going to be screwed because their only future asset, the only thing they can rebuild this thing with, is the Brooklyn pick, which they managed to salvage throughout all this. And even that is now looking like a mid-lottery thing. That's not a lock top 3 like everyone thought it was when they got it. That's a whole other conversation. So, you're kind of fighting for right now if you're Cleveland. And if you're doing that, the guys you had, the supporting cast for Bron you already had, clearly was not working. So I guess you just say, screw it, and you flip everything on its head because what else are you going to do? You got 1 year to win a title, then you're back in the toilet for the foreseeable future. That's, if I were the Cavs GM, that's what I'd be thinking. So fine, you get George Hill, Rod Hood, cool. 2 good players. George Hill's too expensive, but like I said, it's 1 year. You don't really care. Then you set D-Wade free for basically nothing in like a second rounder to the Heat. I mean, cool, I guess. I don't know if D-Wade was making Bron soft because he's, like, bulling around with him at practice and he's not actually, like, getting on everybody about winning championships. I don't know. Then, in your final move, you give up Channing Frye and Isaiah Thomas, soon to be the walking corpse of Isaiah Thomas. I'm going to turn up my gain real quick because I don't know how this is picking up my voice. The walking corpse of Isaiah Thomas for Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance Jr. Again, just trying to switch up the game. Isaiah Thomas he's really like a Shakespearean tragedy at this point. This man put his life on the line for the Celtics and proved once again that players should never, under any circumstances, be loyal to a team if it's going to directly harm them. Because this man put his body and life on the line for them in the playoffs, tried to get him to the finals, and as a result of that, making his injury worse, lost out on what probably would have been a max deal, and lots of money and lots of financial security for the rest of his life. Now where is he? He's in Lakerland, where maybe they'll get some guys. That's another podcast. Lots of money, lots of cap space. So yeah, Cleveland gets Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance Jr. I mean, cool. ARD, as we say. Whatever. Cool. Now, here's where the difference is made. They're starting 5. Cleveland's starting 5. Here's what it looks like now. And I'm going to say for the playoffs, this is what it'll look like for the playoffs when they get Kevin Love back, because nobody gives a shit about what they're going to be in the regular season anyway. They could be an 8th seed, but as soon as they get in the playoffs, so they play their best basketball, fine. That's a Daryl Morey quote. You don't need your best basketball in October. You need it when the playoffs start. So their playoff starting 5 is, I'm assuming, George Hill and JR at the 1 and 2. I don't know if they're going to switch in Clarkson for any of that as the season goes along, if they're just done with JR. I still feel like JR is that dude for LeBron, so he's just going to get the starting nod. Then you got LeBron, you get Kevin Love back, and somehow Tristan Thompson is still on this team. Riddle me that. I don't even know. And then I guess I foresee Hood and Nance and either Clarkson or JR, whoever's not starting, coming off the bench and them doing it that way. And that's a better team than they were before this trade deadline. You know? And that's the thing. There's reasonably nothing they could have done to where everyone would say, oh my God, Warriors, you better look out. See what Cleveland did? They got DeAndre Jordan. Holy moly. no matter what they did, it's not going to be like that. Golden State's operating at a whole nother echelon. But now, instead of being like the 6th best team in basketball, or maybe like 7th, I don't know, I think they're in the top 4 now, for sure, with Golden State, Houston, and Boston. And maybe they're better than Boston now. But I feel like now they really... I feel like, in my mind, they're the favorite to win the East. And I know everyone's going to be like, oh, Boston and Brad Stevens. I'm not impressed by their lineup as much as I am by Cleveland's now. And again, it's still going to take chemistry and all that boring nonsense, but they got a shot, and that's all they're really going to do. What else are you going to do if you're Cleveland? You're screwed. They're like a lame duck president. They know they're done after this year anyway. It's over. So just mess around. Just run around the Oval Office. Do whatever you feel like. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So, sure, good for them. Go for it. Give Cleveland another shot. They're not going to win. Nobody in the East is going to win. We all know who's going to win. But hey, make it entertaining. I want to be able to watch something cool in early June. Yeah, why not? Give it to me. Also, the Clippers. I'm impressed by the Clippers right now. If you're a layman, you probably think, oh my God, why would you trade Blake Griffin? He's still, like, really good, right? He's good right now. He's good right now. But this man always gets hurt. They really played this well. They knew he was going to get hurt. So they're like, all right, how many good, healthy games can we get out of Blake so then we can trade him and get everything we want for him? Now, this is not the old Clippers regime that signed him to that ungodly contract, Supermax, earlier this year. This is the Jerry West consulted Clippers, who abandoned that whole previous regime's plan, evidently. Because they dealt him for, look at the notes, the significant pieces, Avery Bradley and Tobias Harris, and a pick. They did good. Nobody talks about Tobias Harris. That guy's low-key like a shit-tier all-star the way the East and the way LeBron's all-stars ended up turning out, where like 4 of them are injured. He's pretty good. This man's got like an 18-5 2/slash line. Bradley's like a 15-2-2, but he plays good defense. One's 27, one's 25. They're young. They're doing well. They also just extended Lou Will 3 years, $24 million, which is an absolute steal for a guy who probably should have been an all-star when Bulls like Evan Turner are still getting like $17 million a year after that absurd year offseason where everyone's like, oh, the cap's going to go by so much. It doesn't matter how much money they pay. They're playing with monopoly money in that offseason, and now many, many teams are screwed with those absurd contracts. And what it leads to now, the regression to the mean, where it all starts to balance out. Now you can get Lou Will for 3 years, $24 million, who's only 31, even though it feels like he's 41. I feel like I remember that guy playing for the Sixers like when I was 2 years old. So yeah, Clips are on the right track. I think they're doing, obviously, I mean, we're not going to see any of that come to fruition, whatever they're trying to do, for a while, because the West is so stacked and is going to probably be like that for a while. But the Clips are doing what they're supposed to do. There's a lot of teams out here who don't know how to act right. R.E., the Orlando Magic, who have gone flip-flop from tanking to competing on seemingly an hourly basis. And they just traded Peyton, so I guess this is an hour of tanking, and then they're going to flip back in a minute. So there's not a lot of teams who I feel like really know what they're doing. I felt like the Sixers were like that, and now I'm not sure they're going to go tank-a-palooza, but I feel like the Clippers are doing the right thing, and it's gonna probably pay off for them in a little while. But don't sleep on the Clippers. I know nobody goes to the Staples Center to see them, but they're there. Their tickets will be dirt cheap, I'll tell you that, if you live in LA. Good God. You just go there for the visiting team, like Bill Simmons, basically. It's a good plan. What am I at? I'm like 9.5 minutes. I was thinking, I don't know if I want to cut this into one episode, because I got like 3 solid topics I guess I want to talk about. I don't know if I want to cut this into 3 separate parts, or if I want to just do one long thing. I think we'll start with the long form, and then we'll see how it goes, see how engagement goes. Because I'm going to be putting this thing on YouTube and SoundCloud. More people will probably go to SoundCloud. I mean, it'll be me and like Lil Peep, R.I.P., in your feed. So So if it's longer, people can skip around. They can do whatever they want. That's the trade deadline. That's all the significant stuff to me. Sixers didn't do anything, for my personal interest. Whatever. They shouldn't have done anything. What were they going to do? Tyreek Evans? Whatever. The Super Bowl also happened in relation to my local fandom of Philadelphia. Now, I'm not going to go into the emotional significance of winning the Super Bowl on the pod because I'm writing something about that for the website that I'll put out, and hopefully you guys will check out. Because that takes a lot of time to find the right words to describe what that was like and my experience leading up to that game. But from a macro perspective, this was not at all the game we thought we were going to get when we saw Pats Eagles in the Super Bowl. We thought, generally speaking, of course there's always some outliers who are going to, these eggs on Twitter who are going to be like, I called it. Most people thought Eagles defense was going to make or break this game for the Eagles. It really depended on how many points they gave up would give the Eagles a shot of winning or not. People knew the Pats. I'm so stuffed up. I keep doing the That's what cold weather does to you. Pats defense was never going to be that great, but at the same time, the Eagles offense wasn't supposed to be that great, so that was going to be largely a wash, and it was going to be about how the front seven, and specifically front four of the Eagles, could pressure Brady and turn him over and hold him to, ideally, 20 points. Then the Eagles might have had a shot to win. Well, we got a shootout of epic proportions instead. We had a shootout between Tom Brady and Nick Foles, and Nick Foles won the shootout. Over 1,000 yards total in this game. Not just the most. It was Jesus Christ, I'm looking out my window and there's a street with all this snow and this car just did a 360. Good God. This happens when you mix alcohol and snow and hills on a college campus. You get that kind of driving. Anyway, what the hell was I just saying? Yeah, lots of yards. The record for any NFL game, playoffs or otherwise. So it kind of turned into, after it was over, now the hot takes come. They start pouring from the sky like rain. Brady's done. Belichick's he's going to quit. It's all over. Gronk's going to retire. The end of the dynasty. Now, it may be the end of the dynasty. I'll grant you that. It's the end of this 12-year stretch or 14 years, I don't know, where the Patriots have been Super Bowl contenders. But I'm not ready to say, well, I'd say end of the era where they're perennially automatically Super Bowl contenders. I don't think it's that anymore. But Brady's far from done. You realize that, right? The man's 41, just threw for 505 yards and 3 touchdowns in the Super Bowl, and he lost somehow. Blame doesn't go to him. Blame goes to the defense, and their defense wasn't carried by personnel all year. It was carried by Belichick sticking his hand up the rear of Matt Patricia and puppeting the defense from a technical level. And Belichick just did not have a very Belichickian game. And it was as simple as that. Brady needed a little bit. He just needed a little bit from just a little bit from the defense, and he couldn't get it. And they lost because of that, because there's only so much the man can do. So he's not done. He may be 41 or whatever. He's not done. Just won the MVP. Eats I assume one of those green shakes and a handful of nuts and berries he gathers from the forest every day. That's his diet. And 6 gallons of water. That's if the man. He's dedicated. He's dedicated. He's not done. There's no way he's done. He'll be good. As long as you have him on your team, you're always going to be good. The Patriots are winning they're winning their division for as long as Tom Brady feels like playing. That's the start and end of that conversation. Now, we'll see if the AFC gets any better, and we'll see if the rest of the Patriots get better, what they do with coaching or otherwise, or if they can get more personnel in the defense. But based on Brady alone and the way the rest of that division looks, they're winning it no matter what, reasonably. So he's not done. Then, a national story that has been pissing me off because everyone watches the Eagles for one game and they think they know everything about them. There is no controversy over the quarterback position in Philadelphia right now. There's none. Nobody's making that argument here. It's Carson Wentz's job forever, basically. There's nothing that could happen short of catastrophic career-ending injury that would take Carson out of that position. He is Ginger Jesus, and we revere him as such. Simple as that. Simple and plain. I had a conversation with a bunch of broadcast kids in one of my classes the other day, talking about, like, oh, Nick Foles, what are you going to do? You're going to trade him? I don't know why they're all Rodney Dangerfield, but they are. And they're like, well, what are you going to trade Carson? What are you going to do? I'm like, no. There's nothing. There's no asset in all of professional football I would trade Carson for. I even said this, to be hyperbolic. If, like, Cleveland offered me 20 first-round picks, I'm not trading Carson. I don't care. There's nothing. Carson, just from a talent level, leaving all the mental, amazing things that he does out of it, killing in a quarterback camp, which I'm kind of upset we're never going to get another QB camp from Gruden because he's a $100 million man now, and he's no reason to do so. There's nothing. 20 first-rounders, it doesn't matter. Because, first of all, only 2 of those first-rounders is going to be high in the draft because Carson's going to take him to championships as soon as you get him. And then they're, like, glorified second-rounders after that. I mean, maybe that's a bit much. Maybe I'm going overboard. But, like, you could have 20 – what the hell was that? I don't know if that came through. My computer's freaking out. Thanks, Apple. You could give me 20 shots in the first 10 picks of 20 different drafts at taking a quarterback, and I'm thinking there's like a 50-50 shot I'll get a quarterback as good as Carson. Purely for the volume of attempts you're getting. A broken clock's right twice a day. It's kind of that thing. The man is unreal. He was the MVP. Really probably should have been anyway, even after he got hurt. Talent alone, he's incredible. You're not trading that guy for anything. Not trading him. As for Foles, what we do with him after Carson comes back, it's really up to him. Because Foles has granted the city of Philadelphia a Lombardi trophy, which no one else in the history of the city has been able to do. So we kind of owe him now, in my mind. And I know it's a business and all that, but you're just not going to screw that guy if you're Jeffrey Lurie or Howie Roseman. You're not going to do it. He means so much. He is embroidered in the fabric of football history, really in the whole NFL, but in Philadelphia, he's never paying for a cheesesteak ever again. Let's put it that way. So, if I were him, I'd probably want to start somewhere, and it's not going to be in Philly. I'll tell you that right now. So, if you want to start somewhere, you got to go somewhere else to a bad situation that's not going to be great, but you're going to get a lot more money. So, okay, go do that. Go legend. But I mean, maybe he does want to do that. Maybe he loves Bible study with Carson, and he wants to do that, and he just wants to be a backup. The man's 31. He's probably got enough money that he knows what to do. It doesn't seem like a guy who's out buying Lambos left and right. Seems pretty grounded. So, hey, maybe he wants to stay here. I will welcome him with open arms as our backup. He's the Carson insurance. Carson is going to have a career much like Aaron Rodgers, where he balls out, makes people lose their minds, but he gets hurt fairly often, I'm thinking. And I'm saying fairly often for a quarterback. Like, on average, he'll get banged up. Like, every year he might miss, like, one game because he just gets banged up, 1 or 2. And then every, 3 years he'll miss, 8 weeks because of something. Because that's just his style. Just like Aaron Rodgers. He plays the same type of rollout, running game, but he's a bigger guy physically, so he's more apt to collide with linebackers and safeties, and then bullshit like his injury happens. It just happens, and you need to have someone behind him who's capable if you have to prepare to play that many games potentially without him. And there's no better guy for the role, obviously, right now than Nick Foles. So fine, cool, I'll take you. I can't pay you that much, but I will gladly take you if he's down with the culture. Do it for the culture. You know what it is. But hey, if he wants to go do his own thing, that's fine. He's earned the right to do so. But I would try not to stick him in Cleveland if he wants to be traded. I don't know, maybe Denver's a better spot. There's better places. There's a spectrum of places you could put him. But it's up to him. So What could you get for him? I don't know. I mean, football trade market is often difficult to predict. I feel like we could get, I mean, the man just was a Super Bowl MVP, regardless of the people around him. That takes some skill. And there's at least 10 other quarterbacks in this league who are starting currently and are not better than Nick Foles by any significant margin. So, I mean, I'll take a first rounder. We got a first rounder for Sam Bradford. Man barely played in Minnesota. You know? I'll take it. We can make it happen. Get something good for him. Foles is the type of quarterback you can... We won the Super Bowl with Foles. We won with Foles, you know? The rest of the team was very good. The offensive line was badass. The running backs did an awesome job. Receivers stepped up. Defense was good until the Super Bowl, and then even then they made the one play. Oh, Tom Brady, they only really made one play the whole game. Yeah, where they put you on your ass and stole the Super Bowl literally from your grasp. Douchebag. So you can win a Super Bowl with Foles. Carson is the rare type of quarterback you can win a Super Bowl because of him. There's a difference there. With Foles, because of Carson. Carson can carry your team. He can cover up holes all over the offense. Even the defense, he can just outscore the guy on the other team. He's that kind of breed. There's very few of those guys over the years, and we got one. So that's why he's starting. That's why we're never getting rid of him. Foles didn't have any pressure for, like, any of these games, really. Nobody really in the media, at least, I don't know what the team was saying. Nobody expected him to be able to do it all the way through, from when he first took his snap in the regular season to the Super Bowl. No, underdogs all the way, and it ended up helping us and inspired the whole team. But no emotional pressure. You can just play free. Just play loose. Do what he does. The whole team was loose the whole year, but Foles especially, like, you know, no reason to be tight. You're out there. You're just, this is the spot you're in. Just do it. And he did. Now, he didn't have any physical pressure. Minnesota, Pats, didn't get any pressure on him the whole game. All the time he needed back there. Just go out and sling, spin it. Can the Eagles repeat the Super Bowl? That's interesting. I talked to my dad about this a lot. I'd say they have as good a shot as any previous Super Bowl winner to repeat. Now, it's very hard. In my opinion, it is harder to repeat in football than it is in any other sport. Any of the other. Baseball, it's easier, even though it like never happens in baseball. I feel like if you win the World Series in baseball, you're always in it the next year. Very rarely do you actually win it, but you're always in the pennant. You know, you're always close. Basketball, it's hard not to repeat, you know, for some of these teams at basketball. Hockey, it's not easy, but teams do it. Football, you could win the Super Bowl and then not be in the playoffs the next year. It happens all the time. Teams fall apart. I don't see the Eagles in that position because they're going to have pretty much the same team next year, you know? And it's not like they got some lucky breaks. Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, you don't have to play him. Didn't have to play the Saints, which might have been a worse matchup than the Vikings. I mean, you know, Cowboys had that Ezekiel Elliott nonsense, and that kind of screwed them up in the division. Giants had a terrible year nobody saw coming. Redskins had a bunch of injuries. These things happen, but they happen every year. There's always nonsense like that happening to the league. The team who wins the Super Bowl always has some stuff of that ilk help them along the way. That's not specific to us. What is specific to us compared to other Super Bowl winners is a lot went wrong with this team. A lot. We got very unlucky and a lot of injuries, a lot of scenarios. Lose the left tackle, lose the starting quarterback MVP, lose the middle linebacker, your play caller, Pro Bowler there as well, special teams captain, lose your kicker, lose your veteran running back, gadget guy. All these guys. And they still won despite all that. It's like, how could it be that much harder next year? Just playing the odds, playing statistics, law of averages. How could things be significantly worse for this team in regards to all that than it was this year? It really can't. Can't get much worse. And they still won. So we're going to be better than on paper, we're going to be better next year than we were this year, and we won the Super Bowl this year. That's all I'm saying. It can certainly be done. It's still incredibly difficult, and you're still going to need some lucky breaks, but so does every team, and we're in a better position than those other teams. I mean, you're looking at our free agents. Darren Sproles, Nigel Bradham, outside linebacker. Trey Burton, backup tight end. LeGarrette Blount, Patrick Robinson, cornerback. Bo Allen, backup defensive tackle. Those are like the only significant ones. And if you're not a Philly fan, I doubt you've heard of more than half of those guys. God, I'm so stuffed up. You're not losing a ton. You can make this happen. Sproles said, there was talk he might retire after this year or whatever. Man, the team just won the Super Bowl. He said he's coming back. So if he does, he's probably going to be on the cheap. If you're him, I don't know how you're requesting a ton of money anyway after the running back core thrived in your absence. I mean, I'm not saying they'll be better. They're better without him, but man can't ask for a ton of money. Bradham and Burton I'm a little bit worried about because those guys are – Bradham's at like the end of his prime. Burton is like entering his prime. I say prime like he's a NBA star, where he'll be better than any other age is what I mean. They might leave because they are likely to get good offers elsewhere. If that happens, that happens, but we can still recover from that. If that's all you lose, your backup tight end and your outside linebacker, pretty confident. Still pretty confident. Blount could stay or go. He's old. If he wants to play cheap. This is exactly what happened when he was with the Patriots last year. He won the Super Bowl with the team. Patriots came to him and were like, look, you're on the back end of your career. We'd like to have you back. We're not going to pay you that much money. He said, screw you, and then he came here because we gave him more money. Now he's in basically the same scenario again. Back into your career. You just won the Super Bowl. You want to be a part of the culture? Great. Stay here. We can't pay you that much. So we'll see what he does, see if he changes his mind this time around. Robinson is basically the same way. Back end of his career. Finally won something. Maybe he wants to stay. Play the nickel. And then Bo Allen's cheap as dirt, so I'm not worried about him. Most of them are coming back, ladies and gentlemen. This can happen again. They should at least be able to make a run, win a lot of games. Now their schedule's going to be harder as a first-place team, last draft pick. But, actually you do kind of get a draft pick because Sidney Jones, who everyone forgot about, would have been a early first-round cornerback if not for his injury. He's healthy. He's coming. That's our first-round pick next year. That's our guy. Looking forward to that, everybody. Yeah, the competition is better. Aaron Rodgers will come back. The NFC East, Cowgirls don't have the Zeke thing. Giants really can't be worse than last year. And the Redskins won't have the injuries. Whatever, you can go all over the conference and look at that. They're better, yes, and we have to play more better teams, yes. But we are also a lot better. I think those things even out, and I think there's a good chance they can repeat or at least get close. You got Carson, man. You got a 12-year window of winning these things. If you win the first two, it's good. It's good living. What a time to be alive. Switching gears to a somber topic. Markelle Fultz. More information came out today about him and his injury and his rehab and where he's at, what he's got to do, how close he is to playing, is he going to play? All these questions didn't really get answered because it's the Sixers, but we got closer to answers. Basically, he has to relearn his shot mentally, and I'll go into this. He has to relearn his shot mentally because he was physically hurt. Still don't know how he got hurt. Never going to get that answer. Still don't know how. I have a theory about that. I'll go into later. Got hurt somehow with the shoulder. What it looks like happened is he went back and practiced too early. He was practicing while he was still a little bit hurt. And when you're doing something like shooting with your shoulder, if you're limited in that area, you're not really putting up shots the way you were when you weren't hurt. Because there's that mental thing and also the physical thing of once you push it to that certain point in that motion, you're like, ooh, I can't do that. I got to stop the motion here and just kind of jack it up that way. And that's screwing you up more than helping you. So hindsight's 20/20, but him practicing, he must have practiced when he was not physically ready to. I don't blame that on the training staff. I blame that on Markelle on lying to them. I think he was hurt and then just said he was good because he knows the history in Philadelphia. He's like, Jesus Christ, I cannot be the fourth rookie that we draft high in the first round who does not play right out of the gate. He's like, I can't be that guy, so I'm just going to push through it. I'm going to play. I'll be fine. Now, that's admirable in some respects because he's a true competitor. I believe that firmly. But at the same time, God damn it, man. Now look at the mess you've gotten yourself into. So he did that, played hurt, screwed up his motion mentally and physically, and now here we are. Now, he might even be physically better. I think he is physically all good to go with the shoulder, but because he did all that practicing when he was mentally screwed up, he has to get his shot back. It's not I'm not buying into the theory that, he completely changed his shot after he was drafted. He worked with his private coach and did everything differently. I don't buy that. I think this is what happened. He got injured, screwed up his shot through reps, and now through more reps, he has to get it back. Because it's a mental thing. Dr. Brad coming in here, PhD, I had a shoulder injury. I tore my labrum up terribly, had to get surgery to repair it, and they said, all right, you can't play basketball or anything for like 4 months or something. So I'm like, fine. But, of course, I'm hanging around courts doing whatever. And I'm putting up shots with, like, one hand, trying with two hands, seeing I can't really do it. And I put up maybe, like, 100 shots like that in total. I'm a nobody on a park doing this. Now we get to, like, 6 months later, where I'm all good to be doing these things. More than all good. And I'm kind of screwed up from that time. My shot's not the same as it was before the injury. My shot like I'm some real player. No, even just me, Joe Schmo, doing nothing. Still a little bit scared. You could tell the difference. And I really had to think about my shot as I was taking it in a way I didn't before. Before it was thoughtless, throw it up, swish every time. You all know what it is. Now, oh my God, it's like, all right, one step at a time. Take it through, go slow. Remember what you were doing, feet set, straight up, do the whole thing. And it's weird. And I only did like 100 reps, like screwed up. God knows how many Markelle did when his entire life is basketball. It takes time. I'm still not like at 100% of like my quote unquote shot where it was before I had that surgery. He didn't even have I can't remember, did he have a surgery, whatever. Injury. Before I had my injury. And now I'm still a little bit screwed up from that time. Imagine how screwed up he is. It's gonna take reps. There's nothing structurally wrong with him. The worry with like Joel Embiid is he's 7 foot 260 or whatever he is. And he's playing a man's sport, running up and down, putting all this stress on his joints and his legs. That's always going to be a concern. That's like a systematic problem that cannot be fixed with any surgery, really. Markelle's thing, Ben Simmons' thing was he broke a foot. It healed back. Thousands of people have had that issue. Markelle's thing is you're not going to know for sure if he's going to come back the way he was because it is such a rare thing that I've never even heard of in NBA history. So you can't be certain. But you can be certain that it's as simple as it's just going to take time and reps and proper coaching to make sure he's not doing the screwed up form that he learned when he was injured, that he's doing his old form, the proper one. It's literally just going to take time. I'm calling it now. The man is not playing this year. God damn, alarms going off everywhere. He's not going to play this year. Get it through your head, Sixers fans. It's not going to happen. And that's okay. That's okay. We're not going to win anything this year anyway. Take as much time as you need, Markelle. Get it back, and be the off-ball guard we drafted you to be. And it really pisses me off when people say, why did we draft him? We shouldn't have traded up. Why we could have got him, man. We should have taken Tatum, man. Tatum is ready to go right now. Tatum today is 95% of the basketball player he will ever be, which is pretty good. But he's already basically at his ceiling. There's nothing for him to develop, really. Markelle was and still is the best on-paper prospect. Say nothing of the fact that he is the perfect puzzle piece for this particular basketball team. He was the best prospect available, so you took him. That's what you should do. And you moved up because you needed a guy in that spot. I'm fine with that. You didn't give up much. You gave up all these crazy protections that might not turn into anything anyway. You did the right move. You got the best prospect. And that's all you can do in the draft. It's the draft. You don't know what these guys are going to be as professionals for a long, illustrious career. You have no idea. You can only draft the best guy on paper. And that's what they did. And that's what they should do. It's going to take reps. He's not going to play this year. I don't care. You shouldn't either. Take your time. We need you back at 100%. Don't even come back at 99%. What's the point? We're not getting anything out of that. We need you at 100% so you can grow with these guys. He's a competitor. he's got like a chubby face, and he's got like, I don't know, but you look at, and he loves Chick-fil-A, so you think, oh, this guy's just, he's a bust. He's like, he's short Greg Oden with a shoulder problem. No, he's a competitor. He will be a great basketball player for this team. It's a matter of time. Everyone's selling their Markelle stock right now. It is dirt cheap. This is like when Bitcoin costs nothing. Bottom of the barrel. I can get mountains of Markelle Fultz stock right now for pennies on the dollar. So that's what I'm doing. If you want your Markelle stock sold, hit me up on Twitter. I will buy all of it. He's going to be great. It's just a matter of time. And it's upsetting because it's all these Sixers guys. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. Okay, you got to wait. You got to be patient. You got to let them develop. It's another case of that. And yeah, it sucks it's another case of that. But that is what it is. So accept that, expect nothing more, and just move on. I'm glad. This is like when people said counting the Eagles out. I'm glad everyone in the national media saying Markelle's a bust. He's done. He's worse than Lonzo. Good. Keep saying it. More motivation for my boy over there. He will be great. It's a matter of time. I believe in him. I believe in you, Markelle. I really do. Damn, buy his jersey while it's cheap too. Whatever. It's gotta be. That's another thing. It's pennies on the dollar. All right, that's really it for this episode. I'm thinking I want to do one of these every week. It's looking like recording in this time on Fridays is gonna be the play for my schedule the way it is now. And I'll post these Friday nights and, listen to them at your leisure. Do it for the culture, building the brand, make the brand stronger, multimedia enterprise. That's what we're going for here. Everyone starts somewhere. See where it goes.